Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us to another Fit Nation Lunch and Learn. Today, we're super excited. We're bringing back on Ted Vickey. If you guys haven't had a chance in order to see Ted's last recording that we did together, definitely recommend that you check it out. There was some awesome things within there. That was really at the during the early March of last year time when we were really in the muck of COVID. We're still kind of in it, but this is back when it was new. So I can't believe that it's basically been a year since we've last had a chance in order to speak, Ted, on at least live. We spoke before, between then, but on another Fit Nation Lunch and Learn. Welcome back.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Awesome. And then for those of you guys who didn't have a chance to tune in, maybe we can start off with a little intro from Ted. Ted, yeah, tell us a little bit. For those who didn't have a chance to see you before, your background within fitness, how you first landed within the world of fitness as a career.
Thanks, Kalen. I've been in the industry for, going on 3 decades, and my undergraduate degree is from Penn State. And to graduate from Penn State, I need to do an internship. And I always had a love of politics and love of Washington, D.C. So I applied to the White House Athletic Center, and they took me on as an intern under the first Bush administration. After my internship was over, I stayed in DC and worked for a consulting company, and then I migrated out to their software division. But then 2 years later, my old boss from the White House called. She said, "I met the man of my dreams. I'm moving. Do you want to buy my company?" I was 24 years old and said, "Heck yeah." So I went back to the White House under the Clinton administration and stayed there for 11 years. I also continued to grow that company. FitWell was the company, so we ran corporate fitness centers for Department of Commerce, Securities Exchange Commission, Osram, Slovenia, Fruit of the Loom. And then after 9/11, we did all the fitness evaluations for every single TSA employee in the country. It was a crazy time. But then it was time for me to live my bucket list. I wanted to travel the world and golf a little bit more. So I sold everything and moved to Ireland, where I earned my master's degree. I really didn't need one. I just wanted one and wanted to play golf in Europe. And then the Irish government approached and offered to pay for my PhD. So my master's is in business, entrepreneurship specifically, and my PhD is in engineering, with specifically on wearables and big data. Now I'm a professor at 3 different universities, and I consult with companies trying to bring aboard what I like to call disruptive health technologies. And I'm overlooking the Pacific Ocean now, thinking about when I'm going to go out and get my next tea time.
That is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm sure many people who are on here are wondering, under your time that you had a chance to work underneath the Bush administration as well as the Clinton administration, which president bench pressed the most?
President Bush, without a question. This is the second Bush, the son, the most fit man I've ever met.
No.
When he got elected president, they had to find new Secret Service agents, the younger ones that could keep up with him. What a lot of people forget about 9/11 is that morning he got his workout in. He was down in Florida and got his workout in. And whenever he would travel, we make sure that he had the equipment that he wanted to use. And it was a very interesting time. Somebody asked if I missed it. There are times I miss it, but there are times that I don't. I mean, it could be a very stressful place.
Oh, that's so cool. And today we're actually here talking about uh, a very, very interesting topic, something that you've actually coined an acronym called DDPT. It stands for the Data-Driven Personal Trainer. Can you tell us a little bit more about, what does that mean? What does DDPT mean?
Sure. Well, the traditional model of personal training, in my opinion, and of those of a lot of others, is broken, right? We as an industry have to get away from trading time for money, meaning you as a personal trainer train a person, and for that session you earn $1 an hourly rate. It doesn't work. It's not sustainable. We need to be able to be different, to disrupt the industry. And what I'm coining as DDPT does exactly that. And there's a new pricing model around that. So And one of my pet peeves is I get on these Facebook groups and people are offering, use my system and earn $10,000 a month as a personal trainer. Now, I know you guys pretty well, and are there people making $10,000 a month as a personal trainer? Yes, but that's a hustle, right? So that old model doesn't work. This new model can get people closer to earning, to be able to help more people in a way that I think they would appreciate, because you get to work smarter, not harder. You work less, and you make a greater impact. So it's using the data that is being collected now through wearables. Look, if we learn anything after 2020, it is that the industry needs to be disrupted. And we're starting to see that. Look at Peloton, look at Tonal, look at Apple's entry into the industry. Look at Google buying Fitbit. There's a new product called MYX that just got purchased by Beachbody. These are coming. They're coming at us, and we as an industry need to adopt them. If we don't, will we still have the traditional training model? Yeah, but the consumer is moving towards a different way of doing something.
That's super interesting, and I think whenever you think take a look at personal training, that there's a lot of metrics in that they look at in order to make sure that their clients are succeeding and getting improvements. When it comes to data though, and the collection of data, what type of data is important in order to be for a personal trainer to use in order to best get their clients to success?
I got a story for you. So let's imagine that Derek is working at the White House. He's the vice president, right?
Oh God, I
And
hope not.
I like how this is starting.
this really did happen. So again, this was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, right? But I would have a person from the White House come to me and say, you know what? It's 7 a.m. It's a Monday morning. I don't feel like I don't feel like working out. I don't know why, but I just don't feel it. Now, here's a little hint. Back then, we used to make it up, right? Well, the reason why you don't want to work out, probably this, probably that. But look at what we can do now. So now I can pull up my phone and say, Mr. Vice President Derek, here's why. Because last night at 5 o'clock, you went to Starbucks. I know that because you tracked it on your food journal, right? And because we have taken your fitness DNA, we know that you don't process caffeine very well. Okay. And if you look at your sleep log, you went to bed at 11, you tossed and turned till 12:15, and then your REM sleep didn't take effect like it usually does, and you got up late. And your heart rate variability was lower than it usually is. So it makes total sense why you don't want to work out. Let's try this. Let's try something different, right? Now, that's an extreme example, but it shows you all the different things that we can collect: heart rate variability, steps, sleep. That's a big one that's out there now. The effect of sleep, the things that the Apple Watch, the Fitbits, those sort of apps can track. So having that information now allows me as the personal trainer to totally customize. We talked about personalization a long time ago and how we did that with clients. Now we're talking about very, very specific. Here's what you should do. There's a company out of the UK that claims to be able to predict what type of exercise you are better at and what you should focus on. I'm not ready to go that far, but if that is true, look at how having all this data, right? Kevin Plank, the old CEO, the former CEO, I think he's the founder of Under Armour, said data is the new oil, right? If you have the data, you can measure it, you can track it, you can improve upon it. So that's what we're talking about when it comes to data-driven personal training.
That's super cool, and I definitely see the vision and the possibilities of what you can do in that example that you were talking about. But maybe let's say you got somebody who's a bit hesitant, doesn't necessarily want to invest in wearables or data, or maybe think it's too complicated to use. What would you say to that individual?
It's funny you mention that, because just last week I had a friend who got a new Fitbit, and she forgot to put it on for 3 days, and she was upset that she missed that data. I said, no, because you have the app, there's a little background setting that your phone has been already tracking the number of steps that you have, right? So we're collecting data that people don't know about. So if you have a smartphone, you have enough to have a baseline when it comes to data. You could use it to collect your steps. You could use it to collect your sleep and keep it all your sleep data, right? You can use it to track your food. So what wearables and fitness tech has done, it's eliminated 3 Ps, right? The first one, price. Price used to be a big barrier when it came to fitness. It's too expensive. The second one is, I forget, price, proximity. You know, where you are. You know, you're not going to go see a personal trainer 30 miles away, right? It's got to be location. But now with the internet, with Zoom, it's gone away. And the third one is fear, P-H-E-A-R. That's the way people spell it, right? Fear. People were afraid to exercise. So technology has eliminated those 3 barriers, right? So now we, as the industry, can take the lead and say, we understand. And guess what? People are saying, well, Peloton's going to disrupt it. Yeah, they're going to disrupt it. But instead of seeing them as competition, what if we see them now as allies? So as a personal trainer, I say to Vice President Derek, do your Peloton session, right? Fitness is, when I was growing up, fitness was going to a gym, going to a pool, going for a run. You were going to a location and then fitness happened. But now fitness is happening all over the place, right? We don't have to go to the gym. For example, if you're a personal trainer, how many times did you see your client every week? Twice, if you're lucky. So once a week. Well, what are your clients doing the other 6 days they don't see you? And that's where DDPT comes into place, where we have a system. I've created a system that'll allow you to keep in touch with your clients. I did this with COVID. One of the things that I really wanted to do was to get back and get into a routine with my trainer. And over the course of my career, I probably had 20, 30 trainers. How many of them stayed in contact with me? One. So when I went back and I wanted to hire a trainer, guess who I hired? That one that connect with me. And he'll send me tweets, he'll send me emails, just a little random. But if you purposely create a system that allows you to stay in contact with your old clients and something comes up, hey, I need a trainer. Now you can have the ability to keep working with them. You're no longer limited by that proximity, that location, right? Those 4 physical walls of the fitness center are now gone. So I could train Derek, who is 4,000 miles away from me. It'll work.
Excellent. I think that's pretty incredible too, because I'm thinking about it. Not only were you more likely to go back to him, but I bet that was great for referrals as well. Whenever you're thinking about recommended someone, obviously someone who is willing to stay in touch with you for so long with such a customized experience, I'm sure that definitely helped. And Ted, even though you took a little bit of a humble brag at my alma mater, that's okay, I'll forgive you, but you were being humble about something else, and I wanted to make sure we talked about it because we're going to be talking about fitness tech a lot today. So I don't want to butcher this, but I believe you just got recognized as one of the most influential person in, is it fitness technology? What is the exact accolade?
In fitness technology, in January of 2021, there was an organization that said that, and I'm very honored to do that. And a little secret, I wish I could tell you what I did to get that, but I was just being myself, and I was just sharing my information, talking about the fitness tech that I do on social media. So on Twitter, on LinkedIn, some Facebook now. But it was nice to be able to. And if you look at the other list, there are others that pay lots and lots of money to be known, where I did it organically. I didn't, it was just being me. So I'm pretty honored to have that. And thanks for bringing that up, Derek.
No problem. Congratulations. I knew you were too humble to bring it up yourself. So I wanted to touch on that and kind of getting into that, so obviously we've set the bar as you're the number one person to talk through this category with. I want to kind of dive into that, the DDPT a little bit more and get a little bit more granular. And I guess the first thing to start with is, what are going to be some kind of best practices for personal trainers to I guess at their beginning, just to even start tracking this information? How do you build this into your practice?
Well, let's take a look at some numbers first, right? Because I think that'll lay out the foundation. I'm a professor. I gotta use numbers. So some of the stats that are currently there. So the American Council on Exercise in 2015 did a study looking at how trainers use technology. So this is 2015 numbers. 72% of personal trainers said that they were asked by their clients for feedback and insight on wearables. Think about that. So they're being asked, but only 51% of the trainers thought that they were capable to answer those questions. Ding, ding, ding. There's an opportunity there, right? 86% of personal trainers wanted one dashboard to be able to see all of their clients' data. You guys know me well enough. I've been talking about this for years, right? We need to have one place where you can log in, see all of your clients, see all their data. And then 74% said that they would be willing to sell fitness technology, right? So as a business, we want to get away from just having one sole source of income. So having this little stream of being able to earn some money by selling some sort of valid product, that makes sense. So I redid part of the survey in 2020 in the midst of COVID. So here's some interesting things that we found. We asked what the top wearables were that people were asking, their clients were asking the trainers. Apple Watch, Fitbit, Garmin, and Polar. Those are the top four. Okay. When it came to apps, MyFitnessPal, Apple Health, Strava, and Nike. So those are the 8 things that people are asking their trainers about. I asked the question, how important is fitness technology now since COVID? 81% said it was absolutely critical. 62% of people, of these trainers, said they want to now start their own fitness business. We think that about 70% of personal trainers lost significant amounts of income last year because the gyms closed. So people want to take more control of that. But only 36% said they feel as though they have the tools they need to run their business. Okay, so how can we help the trainers? I mean, you guys are doing it at your company, but how can we as an industry help these people? And then the thing that I found most interesting, I asked, do you have a website? This is a game we're going to play here. Price is Right rules. Derek, what percentage of personal trainers said they have a website? And then Kalen, you're going second.
Could it be outsourced?
It could be outsourced.
25%.
You're saying 25% of personal trainers said they have a website?
Correct.
Okay, Kalen. Price is Right rules. Can't go over.
I'm gonna bump that one up a little bit and say 40%.
46%, right? Now, Derek, you went low on purpose, but look, 46% of personal trainers said they do not have a website. Where do people go to get information today? They're not going to Yellow Pages. They're going to the web, right? Now, Derek, I asked the question. I had to follow up. 30% of people said they created themselves. So 70% outsourced it.
Okay.
Right? So there's a huge opportunity there for us as an industry to help educate the personal trainers on how to do this. I talked about this in 2015. People were like, well, look, they said they don't feel comfortable talking about wearables. I said, no, that's an opportunity. If we teach them how to do it, then they can do it, right? So that's the foundation of where we're coming from, right? When it comes to these sorts of things.
Interesting point. You just ended it with it, but how much of it is practicing what they're going to preach? Meaning, how important is it for the personal trainer to maybe even start utilizing it for their own personal reasons, to start to understand it so they can be more articulate whenever they're speaking with clients?
Well, in 2015, that question was asked, and I don't remember the numbers off the top of my head, but there was a very high percentage of personal trainers that used wearables in their own exercise, but were hesitant in using it with their clients, right? So it was one of those things where, where do you go to learn how to do this? In 2015, wearables they were starting to become popular. But where do you go? I mean, you go to conferences, they weren't talking about them. We didn't have these sort of webinars. There weren't any continuing education courses on this, right? So trainers didn't have a place to go. Well, I'm going to change that. They're going to come and we're going to teach them how to do that. But I also looked then at, why does a person hire a personal trainer? And I came up with 4. I want to see if you guys agree with it. First reason is motivation. You hire a trainer to be motivated. Second is accountability. Third is support. And fourth is knowledge and expertise. So I think those 4 would be the top 4 reasons of why a person would use a personal trainer. Can technology help a person stay motivated? Yep. Can technology help them stay accountable? Yep. Can you get support through technology? Yep. Can you educate a person over technology? Yep. So everything is there, right? And I've told this story before. When I was a kid and I wanted the new song I heard on the radio, I had to go to the mall. I had to take my allowance. I had to buy not a CD, but the album of the song that I wanted, right? So look how that industry got disrupted. Now I can download a song. I can download one song, pay 99 cents, and get it immediately. That's disruption. That's what we need to happen in the fitness industry, because it's there. People are used to it, right? Think about even Blockbuster. When on a Friday night you wanted to go out and you wanted to watch a movie, you went to a Blockbuster and you picked one movie. Now you turn on your Netflix and you have thousands of things that you can choose from, and you're paying a monthly subscription. You're not paying for that $4.99 rental. You're picking from a lot of different choices, right? So that pay for service model is something that we're all used to. Apple, Netflix, Spotify, you name the industry, it's there. It's not there in the fitness industry yet. And I think it's a way that we can turn the corner when it comes to the industry. Look, COVID, there's going to be a lot of unintended consequences of COVID in our industry. And that is that, and I have said it earlier, the traditional model doesn't work. Look, if we had been using this before COVID hit, not as many people would have lost their work, lost income, because they could have pivoted right away and started training online.
Could you maybe go a little bit more into that, Ted, when we talk about one of the big benefits of what you're recommending with the DDPT is the fact that it can be done on a large scale and remote. So could you dive into that a little bit more about how the DDPT is able to function from that remote environment and how it's, thrives?
Sure. Well, let's take a step back and let's talk about what data-driven means. So there are corporations outside the fitness industry that uses this every single day, right? So I went to the old Dr. Google, data-driven decision-making. It's defined as using facts, metrics, and data to guide strategic business decisions that align with your goals, objectives, and initiatives. Okay? So I put a spin on that. Data-driven personal training, here's the definition, is defined as using facts, metrics, and data that a personal trainer can use with their clients to make health, wellness, and fitness decisions that align with their clients' goals, objectives, and dreams. Okay? So it's being used. Let's use it in the industry. So when we talk about data-driven personal training, it's more than just using the wearables. It's using all the resources of technology that's available. We're talking about being able to use things like LinkedIn, Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram stories, even TikToks. I've seen some of Kalen's TikToks, by the way. Whew, don't go there. Blogs, emails, and the wearable data that's out there, right? So here's the old way of training. Kalen, if I'm your personal trainer, I'm lucky to see you 2 times a week. So let's just assume I'm going to see you one day a week, right? For an hour. Well, here's how I would switch it. I would switch it, instead of paying that per session rate, I would say, Kalen, I'm going to charge you $75 for the month. And of that $75, here's what you get for it. You get me 24/7. I'm going to be monitoring what you're doing with your wearable data. Okay. I'm then going to be in communication with you every single day of the week. So for example, let's do this. On Monday, I'm going to send you a plan for the week. What days you should work out, what you should do. Tuesday is going to be my teaching Tuesday, where I'm going to teach you a little bit of exercise or fitness or wellness, a little health tip. Wednesday is a check-in email where I'm going to make sure that you're progressing on the way that you should be going. Thursday is just going to be I call it a ping. A ping can be an email, it can be a tweet, it can be a text. How you doing, Kalen? Friday is I'm going to do the data share. So we said that you wanted to get this number of steps. Here's where you are. What's our plan? Saturday is a motivational email. Hey, Kellen, one more day. You're this far away. You can do it. And then Sunday's that final data share. Okay. So before, as a personal trainer, you had one point of contact, one ping with your client. Now, with data-driven personal training, you're pinging your client every single day if they want it. You're creating that relationship. So here's the beauty of this too, right? So you can create little sprints with your clients. So let's say January, you're going to focus on steps. So you're going to set a goal for your clients, and the metric is going to be steps. Let's say February is fiber intake. So you're going to measure everyone's intake of their fiber, and you're going to create a goal. March can be their heart rate minutes within the proper zone. April could be meditation minutes. May can be a little step for charity, right? So there are a lot of websites now that actually give food, give money to charities based on the number of steps that you're taking. And then June might be your sleep month, where you're monitoring the number of hours of sleep that a person's getting. So by doing this, look what I've done. I've created reasons why the person should stay with me. I've eliminated the reason of burnout, right? And within all of these different things, you're still going to be able to educate, motivate, keep them accountable towards their goal. They're still going to be exercising. And you can put into your pricing structure a way to do that. And I got a little bit more on that too. So let's go into that, right? So when you buy a product now online, I call it the good, better, best pricing model, right? So I got the good one. So if you purchase the good one for $50 a month, you get this, this, and this. If you buy the better, you get the good plus this, this, and this. If you buy the best, you get the better plus this, this, and this, right? So you've got now I've got a pricing structure. And what I like to see is you want most people to go for your better, that middle category, 70% of the people. So maybe 20% down at the first one and 10% at the top level. So now you've also eliminated that pricing fear. So what if you only want to have someone monitor your workouts? Great, I can do that. What if I want to work out with you as the old personal training method once a week? Perfect, we can put that in the pricing structure. What if I want to be able to email you any question and you reply to me within 24 hours? Great, that's the best method, right? So now that pricing is no longer that barrier because you've given people choices. And they've done lots of different statistics to find out. And look, we're doing this already in different industries, and we're making purchasing decisions. So it makes sense to be able to do something like this, because then it allows people to feel as though they're part of the decision-making process and allows them to eliminate those other things that they're fearful of. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, I'm completely bought in, and I hear this a lot from trainers as well, that they have this inkling that they want to move towards a direction like exactly what you're saying, but maybe they don't know how to execute it, what it looks like. And you're providing a lot of groundwork right now in terms of what the structure could be like. Maybe to kind of help them as well. What are some of the obstacles that may stand in the way of either themselves or their clients that are keeping them from putting all of this data together and tracking when they aren't with them?
So, Kayla, you reminded me. So I know this is probably a very, very confusing topic for some. So number one, I'm going to share some information with everybody so you can actually see me go through this. I'll give you the link at the end. And then we're also going to send out some slides to be able to see this, right? But this model doesn't work for everybody, okay? So it'll work for most people, but if you are totally against this type of system, don't adopt it. There'll be something out there for you. But I think this is going to work. So some of the obstacles, well, the first obstacle I hear is, well, people aren't going to pay for it. No one's going to pay for a personal trainer to be watching their data. There was a study done, and the question asked, will you pay somebody to interpret your health and fitness data? The answer was yes. 75% said they want their doctor to do it. 79% said they want their personal trainer to do it. Okay. People say, well, my clients aren't going to want to share their data. 87% of people surveyed through a website called Global Web Index said they're comfortable sharing their wearable data. They're wanting to share the data. 66% said that they want a health expert to help them understand the data and then interpret the behaviors to respond to it. Okay, so some of those barriers to entry, we've just eliminated. This was, I think it was part of the ACE study. 51% said that people feel better and feel more in control when they use an app or wearable. And then 48% said they help them feel better and they can manage their body and their fitness and their body weight. Okay, and that was another one. You can have one of these smart scales that pulls in your data, right? So all of as a trainer, you don't have to worry about all that tech stuff. We've got it covered for you. And the other thing from a trainer's perspective, this is new. How do I implement it? I need a support group. We've got that. We're going to get that for you so you can do this. I get it. I mean, look, when we all first started using Zoom, what do? We Googled it. We found experts. We asked them for help. I'm one offering help. There are other people in the industry that want to help you. I mean, what your company does is helping people as well, right? So there are things available for trainers to help. Don't let the fear of technology stop you from doing this, because I think, will the old model still work? Yeah, it'll work, but it's going to be hard, right? There's that hustle factor that I call it. You know, if you're a personal trainer, you know those days getting up at 6 a.m, getting to the gym, your first client cancels, right? And you're working, you've got 6, 7 clients a day. That's hard work, right? I'm not saying this to make it sound like it's going to be easier, but what if you could spend 4 of the days from your home using the internet, sending messages, changing the way that you're doing it, right? So don't, people are gonna say, well, who's gonna pay $100 a month towards their fitness using wearables? Well, if you're a personal trainer and you're seeing a client once a week and you're charging, let's do something, $50 a month or $50 a session. So they're paying you $200 already to be a personal trainer. Now you're coming to them and saying, I'm going to show you how to do training, and I'm going to show you the workouts, and I'm going to keep you accountable, and I'm going to teach you more things as we do it. And you're only paying $100. You're saving them $50, 50%. You're saving $100 a month. Okay. So part of it is just learning how to change the way that we're doing this. Look, I've said it before, personal trainers that are great at the science of exercise and fitness, but we're not very good at the business side. So we're here to help you teach the business side of it. It's all there. It's just a matter of adopting it. How are you doing that one, Kalen?
Man, there was so much good stuff there that you hit. Two big things that just jumped across to me was, we were talking about obstacles, and the first obstacle that they have to overcome is their own fear. And yeah, at the end of the day, they just got to get over that. So that was one of the big things that I took away from it. And then the other thing that you mentioned was about the client as well, and the obstacles that keep them from doing it. And for me, I felt like that's just, again, the personal trainer limiting their own thinking about my client's not going to do it because they don't want the data, and you just showed through the stats that no, they want these personal trainers to be using that information intelligently to help them. And it's true. If I reflect on myself, I'm going to my personal trainer or my doctor already vulnerable, and I put all my trust into them in order to be able to help me. Do you want my data? Obviously, I'm going to give it to you. And yeah, don't let that limiting thought, keep you from making what could potentially be a great business decision. So I think you nailed that one. So the obstacles are completely overcomable is what I took away from that. Maybe a kind of a follow-up question to that, because I feel like with the traditional model, there's already an opportunity where there's a lot of self-tracking that happens. So a personal trainer, will see their clients maybe once or twice a week, but then they're doing their own working out and tracking on their own. I know a lot of trainers, are often skeptical of, is that data reliable? With moving to the new model with the data driven personal trainer, how do you make sure that the data is going to be reliable when you're receiving it as a personal trainer, or does that
Mhm.
disappear in this new model?
Well, I worked in Washington for 17 years, so I know how everyone can cheat when it comes to these things, right? So what I would say to that is, we're not looking for an absolute number. We're looking for a relative number. Okay. I think I might have said this to you guys once before. I wake up in the morning, I've got a scale in my bathroom, I step on it. Okay. That same day I go to my doctor, I step on my scale at lunchtime at my doctor. And then I go to the gym at night. There's a scale there, I step on it, in the afternoon and the early evening. I get 3 different numbers. Which one's right? Which one's right? My home scale, the doctor scale, or the gym scale?
Yeah, I'd say just pick one.
Pick
Average of
one.
the three.
Well, yeah, the scientists of us would do that, right? But I would suggest that the most accurate is probably your physician scale. Okay, but you're not going to go in and weigh yourself at your doctor's office every day, so you're going to do it from home, right? So if you're using a scale at home that's, say, off by 5%, guess what? It's very, very likely that over the course of time, it's going to be off 5%. Who cares? You're looking at those trend numbers. You're looking at the change, not the actual number, but the change, right? Because the percentage of change is going to be the same no matter which scale that you use. So that's my first thing. And secondly, it goes back to what I said earlier. This isn't for everybody, right? If a person wants to cheat and figure out how to add more steps, they're going to do it. That's on them. That's not on you as a personal trainer. In fact, maybe that's not the type of person you want to work with. I cheated yesterday, right? I've got a buddy in Iowa that he does. He monitors how many steps that I take, and I went on my Fitbit app and I actually changed the number of steps that I did. I know how to do it, right? And he's like, "Hey, that's not fair. You know, how'd you go from 300 steps to 16,000?" Yeah, I went for a walk, right? So there are ways that you can cheat. Okay, why are we helping? Why are we in this industry? Because we want to help people. We want people that want to be helped. So when it comes to the accuracy of the data, I get it, right? But we're not trying to land a rover on Mars. We're trying to get someone off the couch. There's a big difference there, right? So there will be times where you need to be very, very, very accurate. And there are systems out there that can be very, very, very accurate. Guess what? They're very expensive. They're hard to use. Or we can use the step tracker that's in that smartphone of ours. You know how much I love smartphones. We keep it with us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We sleep with it. We wake up to it. We check our emails. We check our ping, everything. It's already in our pocket. So you could go out and you could buy a $500 polar heart rate monitor, a watch that does the same thing. Is it going to be more accurate? Probably. Is it going to be 50% more accurate? Probably not, right? Because what's on here, in my mind, is accurate enough. And that's something that you can teach your clients. You can tell the same story I just told, right? Which scale is right? Well, the answer, by the way, is the one that weighs the less.
Uh, uh, No, that brings up a perfect point, I think. And you just think about the DDPT in general. One of the things that always is captivating to me, the couple times I've heard you speak about this, is the fact that you can even work less and make more money. I mean, that's like the ideal dream for everyone. So I kind of want to go into that theme for a second. So how exactly is this working less hours? For instance, are you able to, through digital solutions, you're able to get some kind of economies of scale, maybe share things on a group basis, excuse me?
Sure. Well, one of the limiting factors when it comes to personal training is you only have X number of hours in a day, right? I'd love, maybe we need to do a little study to find out how many clients the typical personal trainer sees on a daily basis, right? It's hard. I mean, people aren't going outdoors anymore, or they're not going out to the gym anymore. So if you're a personal trainer, you're sitting there, trying to find clients, but they're not coming to you. So how do you get around that? Well, you go virtual. You go to them, right? So that's one way that we can change this. The other is finding a different pricing structure. I talked a little bit about it before, but coming up with ways to do that is going to allow you to be different, to differentiate yourself. Working smarter by using the technology, by using the data that's out there, is not working harder. I said it a while ago. You could set. I'm a big systems guy, right? If I have a Big Mac here in San Diego, and there's a Big Mac in Chile, and there's a Big Mac in Mexico, do they taste the same? Yeah, they do. Did the same person make them? Nope. It's a system. I mean, if you've ever worked at McDonald's, they tell you exactly how to put together a Big Mac. All the layers are the same no matter where you go. So make that the way that you do personal training. Have a system. Look, one of the reasons that I was successful in my corporate fitness role was I systemized everything, right? I always wanted the best person to work for me, but guess what? I hired Derek to come in. He's going to stay with me for a year. He's going to go off and do something else. And I want him to do that. So I created the systems that allowed a person to come in to learn how I do things. And the client got a repeatable outcome, right? So finding ways to use the technology. I'll give you an example. My dad, right? So my dad wanted to start walking. And he said, well, I need to walk 10,000 steps a day. Dad, where did you get that number? Well, that's what the media says, 10,000 steps a day. Well, do you know that there's no scientific foundation of that 10,000 steps a day? If you look back into history, there was a Japanese company that came up with that concept because I think it rhymed, 10,000 steps a day, right? However you're saying in Japanese. There's no validity in it. So if you take my 85-year-old dad and tell him that he has to take 10,000 steps a day, and he's currently taking 2,000 steps a day, guess what? He's going to hate it. He's not going to be able to do it, right? So by using the data-driven personal training, you've now found out what your client can do. So here's what I do. And I did it with Dad. Dad, I want you to use your Fitbit, and I want you to do nothing more than you usually do for a week. So I got a baseline, okay? Let's say that baseline was 2,500. So I know that he does 2,500. I know that 10,000 is way, way too much. So what do? I want him to see progress. So I said, Dad, you did 2,500 last week. I want you to do 10% more. And then at the end of that week, I want you to do 10% more. There was a system I used that was called Mosaic. Mastery, outstanding, satisfactory, acceptable, intolerable, counterproductive. Here's how you use it. In fact, I'll put the sheet up for you guys. So what's the satisfactory number of steps per day? Let's say it's 5,000. Then outstanding is 10% more. Mastery is 10% more of outstanding, right? Because it's very, very hard, like for Dad to go, if we thought that 2,500 was intolerable, he can't go from intolerable all the way up to mastery. He's got to progress up, right? So this system, this Mosaic system allows you to do that. And you can change the percentages, you can change, all you need is that first data point. what's their baseline daily step count? And from that, you can build a program, you can show progression, right? And you're also, they're not going to be able to do it tomorrow, next week, the next month. So you're allowing people to stay with you longer, right? If I'm charging a person half as much a month and I'm giving them more information, are they going to stay with me? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So that's just another small example of how we can use that data to be able, and you can do this with anything. You can do it with that fiber. You can do it with sleep. There are so many metrics that are out there. I looked up all the different wearable data points that one could track, and you want to get down to the very, very minuscule. I mean, there were so many things. We're talking about thousands and thousands of different data points that are being collected. We don't even know, right? So let's not even worry about those. Let's worry about the big ones: steps, weight, intake of food, heart rate. That's enough. You can build a personal training business off those four, no doubt.
And how much is it, because you're bringing up a great point, how much is it that basically a personal trainer in some capacity is evolving, or even through experience now they're actually scientists or people super disciplined in the science fields with robust certifications, educations, et cetera, so that they're learning about some, they're learning about processes of the body that maybe previously were being neglected?
Well, if we take a step back and look at this, professional athletes, Olympic athletes have been doing this for years, right? It was just too expensive for the general public to be able to use it. But now, if we can teach personal training, look, if you're a personal trainer and you want to learn about data-driven personal training, I'll help you. I've got courses coming out. I've got the resources. Let me give you a website. It is www.tedv.link/beta. tedv.link/beta. We'll make sure that you get that in the notes. Get on there. I'll tell you when the course will come out. I'll tell you, I'll give you the free spreadsheets to help you figure out the base, because some people are going to know how to, that's all they need. They just need that little push to get started, like Kellen was talking about earlier, right? You got some people that are going to need a little bit more education, a little bit more, how do you do this? You're going to need people that need a support group, so we'll have Facebook groups, we'll have all of that. But I think there is an opportunity here for us as personal trainers to not only make a difference in the lives that we have the honor to serve, but to make a good living, right? It's hard being a personal trainer. I get it. I've tried it. It's hard. And if you use the data, if you use technology, there are ways that it can help you change the way that you're doing business. You can work smarter, not harder. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, hoping that your clients are going to show up. You go to your clients. You go to them on Zoom. You go to them on a text message. You go to them however you can. And there are ways that you can do it, and we'll help you find it.
Yeah, Ted, maybe one of the things we can go from here is kind of talking about where you see the industry going from a big picture standpoint. We had the privilege on our last episode to speak to our CEO Hugo with the CEO of Climber, and one of the things that everybody who was on that panel seemed to agree on is that the industry is going to be growing because of players like Peloton and Apple. They all believe that the industry overall is going to be bringing in more people into fitness. So I'm curious, is that something that you agree or maybe you disagree on? And then what are some of the other predictions that you have for the industry as a whole?
Well, I think we have to first identify what the industry is. Are we talking about gyms? Are we talking about independent personal trainers? Are we talking about people that are exercising, right? Because those are three different things. Will the gym industry change? Yep, absolutely, 100%. We've seen it already, right? We've seen gyms that are closing because of the last year and because of the decrease in members coming in. They can't work out. Have we seen an increase in the number of people exercising? Yep. right? So gyms, we had a conversation over the weekend on LinkedIn about this same topic, and I kind of started the conversation with DDPT and wanted to see what people thought. And they're like, this is great, this is fantastic. How are gyms going to use it? Well, first of all, gyms need to become health hubs, not health clubs, right? Because if I, as the gym owner, am finding ways and saying, yeah, we understand you come to the gym is maybe once or twice a week, or maybe you come 3 times a week to use the gym, use a trainer once out of the week. What else can we provide for you to keep you as a member? Well, the value add is data-driven personal training. A gym could use this to keep them engaged. A gym could create 12 monthly sprints. This month we're working on steps. Next month we're working, whatever it is, you can do that. So yes, the industry is going to evolve. It's going to change. We're seeing a lot of players from outside the industry coming in, right? Google. Look, when Google, Amazon, Apple hit an industry, it gets disrupted. Think back, when QuickBooks first came out and all the accountants and CPAs said, oh, it's going to ruin our industry. It's going to, people aren't going to have jobs anymore. The CPAs are going to go unemployed. There are more CPAs today than there were when it came out, right? QuickBooks did a great thing. QuickBooks outside the industry came in and they partnered with folks inside the industry. One of the things that they found out was, we as a small business, we thought, oh, we could do this ourselves, right? Well, when the businesses gave the data back to the accountants and the tax preparation, it was all a mess. So they had to fix the data, right? So there's going to be more different types of jobs that are out there that we don't yet know about. I think we're going to see a lot more of a holistic approach to health, where you're going to get some health coaching, you're going to get the personal training, right? You're going to have the ability to go to a gym. If a big gym chain can partner, can not see the boutique down the street, I want to do hot yoga, my gym doesn't do it. It's not an if this or that. It's I want to do both, right? So if that gym can do that, can pull all this data in, if it comes to a place where I know that my gym has all my data, I'm going to stay with them. My gym's not going to do it, I'll go to the boutique. If the boutique doesn't do it, I'm going to go to a personal trainer, right? Mm-hmm. So from a personal trainer perspective, this blows the opportunity out of the water, right? I'm not physically assigned to a location. I can train you 24 hours, 7 days a week. By the way, what I haven't talked about is you can automate half of this stuff. You can not half, you can automate most of it, right? There are little tricks that I can show you how to do this. So it's automated. You do it once, it's repeatable. You do it over and over and over again, right? Because whatever you're doing with your client, your first client, you're going to do it with your 100th client. It's the same system. So from an individual personal training perspective, yes, I think this is going to be game changer. Now, will there still be people that want to do the old way of training? Yep. Will there still be clients that still want to do it that way? Yep. But the change is going to be even greater. There'll be more people looking for this.
Yeah, super interesting. I'm just gonna make I'm gonna say a bold sentence right now, and then I'm just really curious to see how you respond to it, whether you tear it down or whether you think that this could potentially happen to some businesses, maybe not all of them, but just want to get something, put something out there.
Let me get ready.
Go ahead. So, okay, so with big technology coming into the space, Apple, Google, Peloton, and others, they have more budget. They are better with data. So what they have the power to do is to put personal trainers and gyms out of business, because they have so much more experience already taking our information and influencing us with marketing and ads. They know motivation better than the biggest brands within the fitness industry and trainers, and they have the possibility to put that industry out, just like Netflix put Blockbuster out. And it's going to be a very dangerous time for businesses that don't adapt and figure out how to play in the space.
Well, you're right. Netflix got rid of Blockbuster, but the industry was watching movies, right? It's just a different delivery model. So people are still going to want to exercise. Fitness is still going to be a critical component. And by the way, one of the things I think we need to do as an industry is to be more aligned with medical, right? So how do we do that? Well, now we've got all this data that's being collected, right? What do medical people like to see? Data, right? It kind of goes back to your question about the reliability of it. We're getting better at it. But are those big tech companies competitors? I see them more as partners, right? Because look, fitness to me is kind of like eating, right? I can have it delivered, I can cook it at home, or I can go out for dinner, right? I'm still eating. There's just 3 different delivery models. And the second thing I'll say is, yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Amazon Prime. I get stuff sent, every week, but I'm still going down to the little mom and pop store at the hardware when I need something, right? So it's that mom and pop that figure out a way to compete. They're not competing with Amazon. I mean, they can't do it with pricing. So what else do? They make it personalized. They make it more inviting to come in and to do it there. So there are going to be ways that personal trainers can use the technology, the same things that Apple is collecting, same thing that Google has, right? And I would suggest that in the next couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised if Google comes out with the Google version of personal training. They're going to need people to do it. So if you learn how to do this sort of thing, maybe you can be a trailblazer when it comes to this. Derek is a real trailblazer. We know that. He's been doing it for years. Kalen's getting there. But now we have the ability for anyone listening to this podcast to become a trailblazer in the fitness industry. And that's by using fitness tech.
Speaking of Vice President Derek, we had some questions as well, I think, that were sent in by the people who were anticipating the webinar. Maybe we can jump over to some of those questions from the audience and see what we have.
Yeah, perfect. I got them up right now. So I know this is actually coming directly from a personal trainer. So this question is directly from a personal trainer. And they're asking about the foreseeable future of smartwatches. And is there like an average lifespan where someone tries out the technology and I guess at somewhere during this, they're going to decide to never use the watch again, or they decide that they're basically hooked for life? So maybe like a point that if they make it to, you've got them basically.
Well, I think there are a couple of questions in there. Is the concept of smartwatches going away? No. If you look at the numbers, you look at the projections over the next 5 years, Apple and Fitbit are saying that the number of sales are going to increase. Look, Google just spent $2 billion to buy Fitbit. Google's not going to spend $2 billion on something that's going to go away soon, right? So the question then might become, is a person going to use a Fitbit over a long period of time? Are they using an Apple Watch over a long period of time? So my suggestion to the trainer is, if you learn how to interpret the data from each one of these devices, it doesn't matter, right? I'm going to get the new Apple, watch in 3 years, right? The one I have now is 2 years old. It's probably time to get a new one. That progression with technology is going to change. Yeah. Am I going to buy a new watch every 2 or 3 years? Yeah. But does it really impact the ability to use the data that's being collected from here? No, it's still collecting steps, right? So if you, and by the way, one of the other things is that's good for the trainer. If I'm buying a new watch every 2 years and I figure out some alliance with Apple to say, hey, I'll have my client wants to buy a watch, and I have an affiliate code, I'm getting 10% of every time I sell a watch. Oh, now I'm making some money, right? So I wouldn't be afraid of it.
Okay. No, excellent. And here's another question. It's coming from what looks like is either actually a fitness center or a studio, judging by the organization, but the interesting topic, and it has to do with non-exercise activity thermogenesis, where I didn't know what this acronym stood for, but basically getting people active throughout the day, outside of normal working out times or traditional workouts, etc. They were wondering about, how do you incorporate this into a healthy and active lifestyle, basically get people to be active in those downtimes? So maybe a follow-up question on top of this is related to that situation, or like that example with your father, where the goal was just to get up 10% on a week-to-week basis or whatever it was. Were you taking advantage of those downtimes for them to do any specific kind of habits to get to those goals?
Well, you're right in that it gets down to the data, right? I think we're gonna have to redefine what the term fitness is, what the term exercise is. We're not gonna be going to a place to exercise anymore. Look, if I go out for a walk around the block, is that exercise? Yes. If I work in my garden, is that technically exercise? Yes. If I go play golf with Derek and Kalen, I'd win, by the way. Is that exercise? Yes, right? So we need to show people, look, I'm a former athlete. If I am not in the corner of the pool after I swim and throwing up, I don't think it's exercise, right? We have to change that mindset, because you, Derek, and Kalen both know that I'm going to get the same sort of benefit that anyone else is if I take a walk around the block, right? So it's no longer going to a location. It is being more active during the day. One of the things that also people talk about now is standing versus sitting. Well, guess what? Your watch can monitor things like that. So it's going to be a redefining of what it is that we're looking for. But yeah, you can use wearables, you use data to help with that.
All right, I saved the hardest one for last, Ted. So this could be
Penn
a webinar
State
in itself.
Penn State will be Pitt.
All right, I didn't hear that. So the last question is related to also coming from, this one's actually coming from a personal trainer as well. Looks like a PT studio, and they're asking about the best strategy to prepare for changes in the industry, for future trends. So I think what it's really looking for is, where do you get content? Where do you get resources to stay up to date with this information so that you're ahead of the game and can react for these future trends?
Well, they're right. In some respects, finding the right kind of data is hard. So you've got to look for companies like Virtual Gym. You got to look for people like me and others that are out there in the industry that are talking about this. Look, I'm in the process now of trying to get the stuff that I'm teaching. Look, I teach the stuff at universities, right? You're more than happy to come to one of my universities and pay tuition, or you can take some of the stuff that I'm teaching online at a much less cost. But I'm trying to get some of the things that I'm teaching continuing education, CECs for it, right? So you've got to keep your CECs for personal training. You could figure out the new way of doing Zumba, or you could come take one of my classes and learn how to use data-driven personal training. Look, the fitness industry is like a big old aircraft carrier. To make a turn, it takes forever. COVID started the turn, right? I'm a speedboat. Kalen's a speedboat. Derek's a speedboat. I see the need to change. I can change right away. And that's one of the things I sometimes get frustrated with, right? So the industry is going to change. It's going to take longer than I want it to. But you will find more and more people talking about this. Get on LinkedIn, get on Twitter, read the blogs on Virtual Gym, find what others are talking about, and join the conversation, right? Look, I'll tell everyone a secret. This isn't rocket science, right? It's just sitting down, figuring out, here's the data that's coming in. How can I use it? That's how I came up with data-driven personal training, right? I spent a weekend. How can I help people learn how to do this? And I came up with it. I wish I could say it was rocket science, but it wasn't. Now, could a Pitt person have done it? Probably, but would have taken them twice as long.
Get him, Derek. Get him.
No. I just want to maintain a good relationship with Ted, so I don't want to come back with any of those punchlines. But I I just wanted to finish off with Kaylin. You probably want to do the same. We appreciate the time. Obviously, Ted, this is not the first, not the second. I think it's the third or the fourth time we've had the opportunity to speak with you. You're always bringing in new knowledge to not just everyone listening, but even to Kaylin and myself. And no surprise that, once again, #1 innovator in fitness technology. So no surprise there.
Thanks, I appreciate it. I look forward to doing more, because people are going to need to learn about this stuff. And if you guys are willing, I'll keep working on this, and I'll keep coming back, and I'll keep telling people how to do it.
100%.
Yeah, we'll keep
thank you so
building on
much.
you.
Nice.